Welcome back to Thone's Nibbles number 77. Yes, this means 11 weeks we've been doing this. It's on John chapter 9. The testimony of the healed blind man. This comes from John 9:35 through 41. John heard that they had cast him out. Jesus heard that they had cast him out. And when he had found him, he said to him, "Do you believe in the Son of God?" He answered and said, "Who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him?" And Jesus said to him, "You have both seen him, and it is he who is speaking to you." Then he said, "Lord, I believe." And he worshipped him. And Jesus said, "For judgment I have come into this world, that those who do not see may see, and that those who see may be made blind." Then some of the Pharisees who were with him heard these words and said to him, "Are we blind also?" Jesus said to them, "If you were blind, you would have no sin. But now you say, 'We see.' Therefore your sin remains." Very profound there. Recognizing sin is the general topic here. Why is it in the Bible? To understand that the blind can see and the seeing can be blind. And we'll talk about that a little bit as we go in here. It's written to the formerly blind man and to the Pharisees. What communications was there? Vision is less important than belief. The application to my life. Those who recognize sin and still do it are sinners. Those who do not recognize sin and do it are innocent. It takes the spiritual light to illuminate sin, for us to know it is wrong. God says to me, those who claim vision but still sin are indeed spiritually blind. And my personal response is, Lord, give us the light to see sin in our lives and the spiritual wisdom to deal with it. So it takes two things, right? We have to first see the sin, and then we have to have the wisdom within us, or being given to us from God or from the Holy Spirit, to know how to deal with that particular sin. Some sins are relatively easy to deal with. Other sins are horribly difficult to deal with. And that's why we have to have all our resources together. When we recognize a sin in our lives, who we ask for help. And I want to a little bit about the comments about if you're, at the end, the Pharisees said, "Are we all blind also?" And Jesus said to them, "If you were blind, you would have no sin. And now you say, 'We see,' therefore your sin remains." The fact is that they were blind from the truth. They may know the law. They were, in fact, the experts of that era in the law, God's law. But if they don't interpret it in the way it was intended, then they are blind to certain sins. And they may even, in trying to avoid other sins, produce the situation which causes yet another sin. So there's a great deal of difficulty here. If you were blind, that is, speaking to the Pharisees, if they were blind, they would have no sin. That is, if they literally did not know all the law that they knew, then they would have no sin, because without sin, without knowledge of the law, the sin is not a sin. And the next, but then they say, now you say we see. That is, they themselves brag on the fact with their pride, and they say we see the sins, and therefore their sin remains because they didn't try to do anything about it. They saw sin, and they saw sin in everybody else, and not very often in themselves. And that's the big problem here. Seeing sin in everybody else is discouraging, and it can cause us to blame people, which God doesn't want us to blame. We do not police the world. We police our own small chunk of the church and our own family. Yeah, we do that, but we do not police the world. So they were experts at policing the world, but not in policing themselves. And that's what the whole thing about their blindness. But when they declare that they can see, then they are guilty. So that completes yet another day, and we'll see you next time.